everyone. Welcome to the KBB From the Tap podcast, where today we will talk all about KBIS 2023 and the International Builders Show as part of Design and Construction Week.
Be sure to subscribe to KBB's YouTube channel and click the like button on our videos. You can also subscribe to KBB's From the Tap podcast on such apps as Apple, Spotify, Pandora, and Google Podcasts, and please feel free to leave a review.
I'm Executive Editor Chelsea Butler, and today I am joined by our Managing Editor Leslie Claggett and Arlen Schweiger, Executive Editor for KBB's sister publication CE Pro. Thank you, Leslie and Arlen, for joining me today.
Thanks you,
for
Chelsea.
having me.
All right, well, let's dive right in, and we'll start with Leslie. What were your overall impressions of this year's events?
Well, I think the show was extraordinarily well attended. There was a vibrancy in the aisles and in the booths that even after a very extended trip out to Las Vegas, you could really appreciate, and it was really energizing. I loved the energy of the show.
What about you, Arlen?
Yeah, I would definitely echo those sentiments. So last year was the first Design and Construction Week that I had attended. It was in Orlando and not Vegas. And, there was still a lot of masking going on, masking requirements, I believe. And, it was very well attended as well. But clearly at the Las Vegas Convention Center this year, there was a different vibe. There's, like Leslie said, just a lot of energy there. And there were just, you could see there were many more booths, many more attendees. There were a few more co-located shows as well to it. And yeah, everyone I spoke to there just thought there was so much enthusiasm for the show. They were really happy to be there. And they were seeing a lot of good crossover attendance with, some designers going to the IBS booths and vice versa.
Yeah, I think we've found out after the fact that there's record-breaking attendance and all that good stuff. I noticed just obviously, yes, it was busy. Fast-paced, lots of movement, definitely colorful, and especially was just really impressed by even more well-designed booths than we've seen even in the past. And just to name some of the best booth winners, Kohler was best in show, and I'm sure everyone saw that one. Those are the photos I see most that everyone's taken. And then Fabuwood had the best medium booth. They had a really cool piece of art in the front of their booth with a tree trunk with like a little tiny kitchen engraved kind of into the tree trunk, which was really cool. And then Neela had honorable mention, and that one was just really cool. Had a lot of different vignettes to visit, and I thought that was really, really well done. So, all right, so let's move on and talk about some of the overarching trends, movements that you noticed at this year's show. And Leslie, we'll start again with you.
Okay, speaking of color, that was definitely very apparent going through the show. I've got just 4 things that I'll mention out of many. True is adding automotive paint as an alternative to powder coating on its appliances. And the difference between automotive and powder coat is a true depth to the color, and there's a little bit of sparkle like you might find on a hot rod, or kind of a car person. But it was phenomenal. And actually they had their example of the powder coat was this rich green. If it was a flat green, you would have overlooked it, but with this little added sparkle, it was a knockout. I loved it. And going back to Kohler again, I think we know that it opened up some of its heritage hues to people to vote on, which ones they would reintroduce into their current lines. And the winners of that voting process was Spring Green, which is a pastel-y green, which was first introduced by Kohler in 1927. And the other color that they're going to be reintroducing is Peach Blow, which was launched in 1934. Moving to cabinets, Haker Kitchens has adopted a new color system that will give designers a choice of up to 1,900 hues to specify for their kitchen cabinets. And the few that they had on display there were rich and vivid, not much subtlety involved. So it was nice to see that boldness. And finally, it's a slightly different take on color per se. Cosentino previewed a new Decton product that's going to launch later this year, I think in Q2. It's going to be its first color through slab in the product line. So that will be great to see, you know, when you're slicing those edges, you'll see the veining run through the material. So those are my picks for color innovation.
I didn't see that color. Now I want to see it. We have to go back.
Okay.
Arlen, what about you?
So actually, you know, I saw a lot or heard a lot about colors talked with a few companies there as well. And it was pretty interesting, the discussions I had with companies like Sherwin-Williams, Blue Star Cooking, and Dow Tile. And, you know, one of the things that they were mentioning is that there were a couple of trends when it came to color. And one of them was just like some more punch, some more pop in the colors. You know, Blue Star Cooking was using one of its designers to unveil a color, you know, its color of the year, and it was wine red. And in their booth, they were showing other appliances that were in marigold, and I believe it was teal. And it was really interesting. And so companies were saying, you know, that they're kind of looking in the pandemic in the rearview mirror, that customers and designers really want to kind of go out there a bit and show that their clients want to have fun. They want more sort of this, you know, elevated, optimistic kind of a, you know, breath of fresh air after, you know, a couple of years of a lot of uncertainty and staying at home and things like that. And so they really want to have some expression and expressiveness there. The other trend that I saw with color was that a lot of companies were turning to more earth tones, to more blue hues, brown hues, green hues, like Leslie had mentioned. And I was hearing this as somewhat of an extension of the kind of biophilic movement that's out there, the wellness trend that's taking place in design and technology. And, you know, when it comes to that, certainly sustainability was huge at this year's show. From what I could tell, you had major companies like Samsung and its bespoke line of products really talking about, you know, how it's making major commitments to eco-friendly practices. And this comes from everything from manufacturing, logistics, packaging, the technology it uses. Couple of the other trends that I saw. So certainly, like I said, that outdoors coming into the home, into the kitchens, into the bathrooms, just kind of sort of creating more of that oneness with nature. It's a lot more openness from the lighting companies, some of the lighting fixtures, so the housings, not the bulbs. They were showing in like their chandeliers and things, how they're requesting more transparency in the glass to go with more kind of reflecting more of that open feel of like the open layouts that you know, kitchens to living rooms and dining rooms are going through. So that was another trend that I saw. And then lastly, this kind of goes with some of the wellness, but sort of a subset of that has been the aging in place, and that category catering to elderly clientele. So on that standpoint, I saw some, you know, some interesting touch-free or assistive design, some gesture and wave controls for, you know, like turning on lighting switches from Legrand, which was pretty cool. You know, smart bidets that had tons of functionality. And then there were some groups and companies there that were really catering to aging in place. There's the Living in Place Institute. Caregiver Smart Solutions was there with its line of sensors products. So these can go for the home and assisted living facilities.
I also noticed a big big surge in customization and personalization of product. Arlen, you mentioned Samsung's bespoke line. They're actually taking that a step further with the My Bespoke program, which is going to let people upload their own images to the refrigerator display panels. I guess it's the IoT version of using a magnet on the fridge to put your child's, artistic triumph up there.
Sure, and I see that a lot on the technology side. We'll see companies, and some companies that were at the show too, like Savant, where they'll have the touch panels. And these days, iPads can be used for touch panels. You could have some large screens, and they do customize that for like every room in the house, where the icon for the different smart activities and entertainment choices could be, photos from that particular room. So you're just,
Right.
it's a very nice way to customize things. And I definitely saw a lot of that too.
Fulgor has something that's more permanent. They have an appliance badge that can be custom engraved with the name of the homeowner, or whatever wording you want, if you want to have, the name of your house, or it just is a really nice touch that I was unaware of up until this show. And then also Delta and Brizo, sister companies, both introduced new shower packages at better and best price points. And they are investing in automated shower programming that will allow up to 4 users to program their hygiene preferences, I guess you would call them, into the system. That's, I think, a big step for both of those brands.
How about you, Chelsea? What were some of the trends that you saw?
Well, the sustainability thing that you mentioned, it just seems like if you're a brand who isn't paying attention to that, then you're doing the wrong thing. So everyone I talk to has that kind of top of mind. But in terms of product trends and things like that, I noticed a lot of textured surfaces, countertops, tactile stuff that you can touch that has movement to it. In the same vein, surfaces that look like they had texture, but they were smooth to the touch. So I thought that was really, really cool. Fluted designs for islands and countertops, with the little space in between. Hardware and doorknobs with mixed materials, metal and wood. Patinas, I'm sure everybody saw the MTech booth with all those really cool doorknobs. And then knurled sink handles, which have been around for a while, but I just saw a lot more of that. Like I thought texture was a huge standout this time. Kind of goes hand in hand with color, but it adds a little more dimension to it. So on that same note, what were some of your favorite innovative new products at the show? Arlen, let me start with you.
Sure. One of the best booths that I saw, I thought, and I'll have a write-up of this coming up. It's the booth. Well, one of the brands is called Fire Garden. That was a new launch for this company. The company is called Travis Industries, and so this was on the IBS side. But one of the things that I was thinking, they're the Fire Garden, and they have 4 brands that all do different kinds of fire features, fireplaces, fire pits, and so they have a really cool luxury custom fireplaces called Da Vinci custom fireplaces, and that was kind of your really just super high-end, very nicely finished indoor. I think those mostly indoor fireplaces, but the Fire Garden is outdoor fireplaces. It's all gas driven, but they had very cool things like these. The president of the company called it fire art, and it was sort of this like sculpture that was in the middle of its booth, and it was throwing off all sorts of heat, but it was like a bunch of different cubes that were sort of different size and really made to look like a sculpture. And that was I thought that was pretty impressive. And so I'm thinking of the different outdoor living categories and outdoor kitchens that can have all sorts of accessories these days. And that's something that that we've seen on the custom technology side. really boomed during the pandemic was people investing more in their houses, but especially the outdoor living spaces. And so I thought that would be, kind of a natural crossover, and it's compatible with some smart home controls because it's kind of a basic, on off for the different fire features. So I thought that would be great, and potentially something to see at that CEDIA Expo would be cool. Some of the other products that I liked, the couple of booths in the West Hall, one is called Wall Smart and the other is called Hydratrim. And what they do is they provide materials to basically have touch panels, smart interfaces like outlets, keypads, even different things like smart speakers, voice control speakers, basically blend in and sit flush with walls, which is really can jazz up a space and have that sort of blending in of technology and the beautiful finishes that basically it's trying to blend in with or hide from. And one of the products is from Walmart, they actually conceal wireless networking devices like access points in a ceiling so that they're completely out of sight, which designers love. And they said that they were getting a lot more traffic this year. I saw them last year too. They were getting a lot more traffic this year from designers at the show. Some other interesting things that I saw were the radiant heating solution from Gold Heat. I thought that was very interesting. You mentioned Cosentino, some of their, their patterns I thought were great. I loved a lot of the patterns from Daltile. One of the interesting products I saw from a kind of that wellness biophilia side was the Natufia, the One, and it's a semi-automated indoor garden. It's a kind of a freestanding garden that it's able to sort of self-water and can be put on schedules. And then there's a larger one that they call the Natufia Smart Garden, and that can actually install almost like a refrigerator. So just sort of blend in within, whatever sort of cabinetry scheme is already going on, which I thought was great. And then one more I'll throw out is, like you said, the Kohler booth had just some amazing, amazing things in it. And one that I loved was, the big infinity soak tub that had the chromotherapy going on and the aromatherapy going on in it. And it was just an incredible sight to behold, and, really wanted to just kind of hop in there.
I remember actually saying to them, can I, in the middle of the show when my back hurt, my feet hurt, like, I really want one of these when I get home, please. Make sure it's waiting for me. I'll speak to that same vein in terms of the tubs were such a big deal this year, and all imaginable colors, shapes, technology, everything, from that one to, the first one I saw was kind of a salmon colored one from Concretus that I just thought was amazing. It was huge. I don't know how it fits into any normal size bathroom, but and then Hammock Bath had one that, hung just like a hammock, although it doesn't move. So I couldn't figure that out, but obviously that makes sense because if it moved, water would splash all over the place. But Dervit had some really interesting shapes and things like that. Some of them, I did wonder how people would safely get in and out of them with the size and, the height of some of those. But in the same vein of different colors, the Smeg booth had refrigerators in every color imaginable, even a champagne refrigerator that was really nice. I visited a new exhibitor, Etu Home, and they specialized in metal cabinetry, which when she was first kind of talking about it, I thought that's going to look like a file cabinet or something like that, but they were painted, they had glass surrounding them, they were kind of, one unit was meant to go on top of another cabinet, and they were just really, really neat. It kind of put me in the mind of like a museum piece, being displayed in the glass. So you definitely have to put some stuff that you really liked in there, since everybody would see it. And then finally, and this is definitely not the end of my list, but just we can't sit here forever, but Hayfala had lots of specialized storage in their pantry area. They had drawers for like root vegetables, and they had a moving ladder, like a ladder program for the pantry. I think you can customize that and how big your space is. But, you know, they also had, you know, solutions for tables that fold away in case you wanted to use those for, you know, for homeschooling or working or anything like that in a kitchen. And I thought that was really well done. So Leslie, what about you?
Sometimes I really notice the little details more than the big picture. And KitchenAid has a refrigerator. You open the magnificent doors, and you see the magnificent obsidian interior and the wood trim shelves. But the really nice touch, I thought, was there were two metal trays on, you know, suspended in the unit, in the cavity. One is a baking tray and one is a marinating tray. And those go from the fridge directly into the oven, which I thought was just brilliant. I haven't seen it before. Another thing was a surfacing or a tile treatment. It's certainly for vertical surfaces. It's from the Borrowed Earth Collaborative, and it was just beautifully sculpted and carved panels. Some were very organic and flowy, others were quite structured, but the materiality was just extraordinary. I'm unfamiliar with them as well, and I'm definitely going to be looking more into their line. And I think another detail that caught my eye was over at Karen. They have undermount sinks in a laminate countertop, and it's virtually seamless, both to the eye and to the touch. It's a very difficult thing to do, and I thought it was very well done.
Yes, I went back and looked at some of your choices for your favorites after.
You did.
On the last
I hope
day.
you agree.
Definitely. So I just wanted to go into a little bit of detail on the KBB West Hall tour that we led this year. I took about 15 designers on a booth tour of brands that were new to KBIS during this tour. And we were able to see everything from freestanding whirlpool tubs to a faucet operated by toe kick operation, a garbage disposal alternative from Sapira Home, which actually was the winner of the Kickstarter awards at this year's show. So we've been doing these kind of tours for several years now, and we almost always choose new brands to KBIS as a way to get people out there looking at these smaller brands, as well as the big Kohlers and KitchenAids and things like that. Because it's a huge show. There's not a lot of time to visit everything. So, you know, this was a way for the designers to learn and for those exhibitors to get some traffic. So, I wanted to go through any programming highlights. I know we didn't have a lot of time to do stage events and things like that, but I had a couple of things I can speak to. Did either one of you get to see anything?
I was rushing around. I was on the floor from before dawn until after dark sometimes. So yeah. I caught some gossip in the hallways, you know, who won this, who won that, who should have won. But I was not able to attend face to face. I was in the booths.
I didn't attend any of the programming either. One thing that I did though, one of my meetings was with Josh Christian, who runs the HTA, which is the Home Technology Association, and he led some sessions on 2 of the days at the show. And one of the things that he was talking to me about was this new program that they have. And what they do, one of the main things, and they're trying to connect more system integrators with designers. They certify integrators. They have kind of a somewhat rigorous criteria that integrators can meet. And that way customers know, and they have a feature where they can help point customers to the right direction of these companies. But ones that they know are really just, the tops of the industry to going about business the right way, and in trying to connect the technology industry to the design industry, they just rolled out a certification. One is called a design partner, and the other the HTA technology partner. And those are for the two sides, basically to, sort of have an agreement that they're very willing to work with each other as progressive thinking and design-minded companies. And so that was interesting, and I'll be interested in following up with Josh to hear how some of his sessions went, because last year he was on a panel that I moderated about home technology for the kitchen and bath industry.
Yeah, speaking to that, I also moderated a panel on the next generation of the smart home for the Voices from the Industry conference, and they had panelists from Kohler, Crestron, and Delos. I don't know if I'm saying
Delos,
that right. Delos. And we talked about how the smart home plays into the health and wellness of the actual resident and its occupants, and went into more detail on new tech products and how designers can learn more. And aside from the microphone woes that we had, it was a really good session. We had a lot of questions at the end. So that was really great. I was happy to be a part of that. And then I was also able to interview the KBB 2022 Person of the Year, Jeannie Chung, on the KBIS Next Stage, which is always, a fun place to be, where they're talking about all sorts of, new trends and hot topics and things. But this was a fun and engaging way to let the audience get to know her a bit better and why she was so deserving of the award. So, so that was really fun too. So, all right. So anybody have any closing thoughts on this year's event?
I look forward to going back next year. I thought it was a really just a great event to attend. It was fun. Everyone was really energetic, optimistic about the markets. And, I was meeting a lot of companies and having great conversations about some of that crossover, just how that looks, and talking to them about the CEDIA Expo and why they might be a fit for that. And, some of the different things there where, they might be able to integrate their technology or their companies with technology solutions. And so I had some great conversations with a lot of the manufacturers there. And it was really, to me, it was very inspiring, seeing how they're kind of getting a little bit more of the message across from the tech standpoint. So for me, that was interesting.
I'm looking forward to next year because, again, part of that buzz that I was picking up in the aisles was that next year is going to be a really good year for innovation. I think we saw a lot of brand extensions this year, but next year people are going to really let loose with a brand new product. So, and I also am glad that it's going to be at the end of February instead of the end of January.
Yeah, I was just going to say, next year's KBIS and Design and Construction Week and IBS is again taking place in Vegas, but end of February, from February 27th to 29th. So we'll all be going back, and we are probably already planning for it, but we needed to take this week to just sort of decompress and get our thoughts together. So thank you all so much for joining me talking about all things KBIS.